Good morning, dolls, and welcome to Little Gretchen's workshop. So, in the midst of warming up and trying to get back into the swing of things, I remembered there were a few more things that I wanted to add to the new stock of the newly reopened Dress Shop Dollhouse. Now, I'm using some pink colored clay to cut some pieces shaped in what I consider bars of soap. Now, these are special perfumed soaps or beauty bars that are sold exclusively at the Dress Shop Dollhouse, and I wanted to make them pretty to look like things that were part of the collection of things sold for beautiful, elegant ladies at the Dress Shop Dollhouse. Now, I'm not doing anything special. I'm just cutting these pink chunks of polymer clay so that I can bake them. Now, these I'm kind of cutting in sort of a rectangular shape. I probably should have had some type of template so that the shapes would be more uniform, but I didn't, dolls, because this is only for my amusement. I guess if I were actually to sell these bars, I would need to be more precise. Now, I did roll some of the little remnant pieces up into little balls so it'll look like some of the soaps are round, because I think that would add a little bit of variety to the selection. Did anyone else grow up with aunts and grandmas that had pretty soaps that you weren't allowed to use in the bathroom? Let me know in the comments. Now I'm just arranging a few of them on a little tray because I think that really looks cute. They look very believable. And even though the pieces aren't even baked or completed, I really like the look of them. And this one I gave a little oval shape. When I was a little girl, I had a great aunt, and every time you went in her bathroom, she had pink bars of Dove soap. Now, I was inspired by the idea of my precious doll, Nessie Monster Crafts. She gave me a wonderful gift that included some beautifully scented soaps, and I was so fascinated by the wrappers. I just had to unwrap the soaps so that I could get the wrappers. Now, I still have the soaps. I haven't used them because they're pretty and they smell good. But these wrappers to me look like they would be perfect for creating some boxes for the toiletry items to go in the Dress Shop Dollhouse. Now, although this is paper wrapper, it was pretty firm and had a nice texture to it. So I think it'll hold up pretty well without any additional backing. Now, I used the parts of the wrapper that I thought were most attractive and that didn't have any writing or print on them. And I randomly created boxes based on the size of the wrapper that I could salvage. Now, these little boxes were pretty straightforward. I just shaped the sides of the box. So I sort of folded things in a way to create some square-shaped cylinders. And then I glued the base of another piece of paper to the box to close it off. And I didn't show it in these frames, but I filled the boxes with scrap pieces of wood to give them some weight. And after I sealed both ends, I allowed the boxes to dry completely before I trimmed off the excess from the rim on the top and the bottom. Now, while I was finishing the boxes, I had baked my little baby soaps, and now they're all hardened and ready to be wrapped. Now, when I say wrapped, I'm just using some just random tissue paper. Now, my original idea was to use life-size tissue paper, and then I realized I had a smaller, more size appropriate option, which are hair end papers. Now, these are just regular, random, run of the mill end papers that you use on the ends of your hair when you're rolling it, and they're perfect for your miniature project or so many different things. But today I'm going to use them as the little wrapping or tissue paper for my baby soaps. Now, although these hair end wraps are really nice and small, you're still going to have to trim them down to a more workable size for your soaps. Now, after I trimmed the tissue papers down, I didn't do anything fancy. I just wrapped the tiny soaps in a way that would cover them, and I added a little dab of glue to keep the tissue paper on securely. Now, after I got through wrapping the rectangular shaped pieces of soap, I went on to do the one couple that I'd done in the round shape, which wrapping them was basically the same, but with the round ones, you had to gather all the paper around to the center in order for you to glue it down. And after all the little baked soaps were wrapped in tissue paper, I felt like I wanted to add like a little label or a seal to them, and I didn't have any tiny labels or anything, but I felt like some of the wallpaper I had could look like a tiny label or a seal. Many pieces of my wallpaper have tiny like floral designs on them, which I think would be totally appropriate for small perfumed soap. Now, in the midst of creating these tiny labels or seals for the soap, I saw some of the patterns that I thought would look pretty on the little boxes that I created with the soap wrapping paper, and I added that to those boxes as well. And I felt like using the same wallpaper for the labels would make it look as though the items from the soap and what was in the boxes came from the same collection. And after I finished the labels on the boxes, I went on to add the little seals or labels to my tiny bars of clay soap. After I finished adding all the labels and everything, I just had to play around with it to see how I could arrange it. Now, this little basket was made of some burlap that I shaped over a bottle lid and allowed it to dry, and I thought it would make a nice display. I'm still playing around with the ideas, but let me show you what else I did. So after playing with all the soaps, it made me think about the perfume bottles again. And if you've been following my channel a while, one of my earlier videos when I first introduced the dolls, it was about soaps and perfume bottles. And I will leave a link in the description for that. But I just wanted to make a few perfume bottles with some remnant beads that I had that I've been intending to use. Now, I was recently gifted a wonderful selection of really teeny weeny seed beads, which are perfect for stringing on these tiny pins. Now, these pins I usually use for my pin hinges for my furniture, but they're just the right length for making perfume bottles. So I strung on some of the teeny weeny seed beads from this collection that's laying on the table. I had already shaken out several of the beads on that little lid to keep things contained so that the beads won't roll off on the floor. Now, there are actually a few beads laying on the table. They're almost microscopic and you can't see them, but you'll see me just kind of gently picking them up off the table mat. And those I string up to be the stems for the bottles. And then I sorted them around to find the remainder pieces to create the base portion of my beautiful perfume bottles. Now, here's a quick glance at the stem of my bottle. And I'm adding Loctite super glue gel to the tip where the point is that's going to go into the larger portion of the bottle, and pushed it in, held it for a few seconds, and there is my completed perfume bottle. Now here I use a square bead, and I think that looks really elegant. Now I continue to play along with a lot of the beads just to see what else I could do. And as usual, I kind of got caught up in a little frenzy and I couldn't stop. So I went on to try another type of bead. And after that, I wanted to see how another type of bead would look. And each time I tried another, I wanted to try another until I don't even remember how many I made. At that point, I had made so many little perfume bottles, I couldn't find any more beads. And I felt as though I would have to sacrifice some of my bracelets to get more. And not only did I go kind of crazy with the perfume bottles, I went a little crazy with nail polish bottles as well. I feel like I had something like what I would call a creative explosion, where after I started to create, the ideas just kept coming to me and I couldn't stop. I'm so delighted to be back at my craft table and be back to creating. You dolls just don't know how much I've missed it and how much I've missed you. So at this point, I was really trying to wrap up the video and be done with it. And then I got another idea. So I had this beautiful 3-tiered dessert tray that I was gifted from my precious doll Lana from Panache Luxury. And I was really excited because it looked like the perfumes really were fitting really nicely on the top level, but when I got to the lower levels, it started to get a little difficult. And although I was a little disappointed that the ones didn't fit on the bottom because they were so pretty, but that just meant that I would have to put shorter bottles down there. But just let me show you close up how beautiful it is with the perfume bottles on it, which made me really excited about playing with the Dress Shop Dollhouse again. So I hope you dolls will excuse me for a few minutes while I play. I've just missed being in my craft room and having an opportunity to just have some true dollhouse fun, so bear with me. Now this showcase I purchased at a dollhouse estate sale this summer, and I originally stained and enhanced it to be the new cash register desk in the newly updated and decorated showroom of the new dress shop location. But as I played, I got a new idea. I realized that this desk or this showcase would be perfect to be the perfume counter in the dress shop with all the little perfume trays that I made and then the little tiered display and all the soaps and everything. So I was really nervous about trying this, especially after what happened trying to get the perfume bottles on the tiered tray, but I just had to try it. I had to try and see if some of my mirrored perfume trays would actually fit inside the showcase. And dolls, to my absolute delight, they actually fit. They absolutely fit. And then when I realized that the height of them were good, I was trying to figure out how many of them I could actually get in the showcase to display them. And Dolls, at this point, I have to admit my amusement was off the rails, and I just had to see how everything looked all together. And it's really amazing how when you begin to play, all your thoughts come together and converge to create a feeling, a mood, a scene, a thought, a memory. It's just so exciting and satisfying to see all the pieces come together. All the tiny beads, the ribbons, the pins, and the mirrors. So, dolls, this is another example of why I always try to encourage you, dolls, to play, because your imagination begins to blossom in the midst of play, and you'll come up with things that you never could have imagined because you freed yourself to just have fun. And in the midst of the fun, you create something beautiful. And I just want to say welcome to all my new subscribers, and thank you for those of you all who've been with me for the long haul. And even thank you to those of you all who watch and you haven't subscribed. I appreciate you as well. Dolls, I'm so excited about feeling better and the prospect of being able to get back to creating content again. Now, if you've enjoyed this video today, please let me know in the comments. And if this is your first time watching the channel and you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. And always look for me on Mondays after 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, I'm looking forward to seeing you all next time right here on Little Gretchen's Workshop. Bye-bye now, dolls.